Tanzania has one of the highest rates of child marriage, where almost 2 out of 5 children are married before the age of 18. And in a UNICEF study done in 2016, it said 7% of the girls were married before they were 15, and 37% were married by the time that they were 18. These statistics are general for the country, but because there are over 120 different cultural groups in Tanzania, each group will have their own customs and traditions about marriage and when a girl should be married. Among the pastoralists where I'm working, these girls would be married in their mid-teens, unless there's some other intervention. Very few parents will try to send their children off to school and get them educated, except the parents themselves who have an education that are not just primary school education, but secondary and further education. They will be ones who are more eager to send their girls to school, whereas the ordinary person will not. The percentages are uneven throughout the country, finding that the regions where there are more rural people have a tendency to have more early marriage. Also, Manyara region, which has a high percentage of pastoralist Maasai, also has a high percentage of child marriage. So you have a difference of rural to urban, you have a difference of each cultural group. I think child marriage occurs, I think one big reason is culture and traditions. Among the Maasai and other pastoralists, girls would be married as soon as they reach puberty, and then they would start having children. They receive their parents receive a dowry, which is a number of cows, and they often then use that dowry to find wives for their sons. Another reason is poverty. People who are poor see their daughters as a source of income. So if girls are married off early, then the parents will receive some kind of dowry. It depends, again, on each cultural group as to how many cows, what kind of dowry. Is it cash or livestock?
So, like in the rest of the world, for most places, in Kenya, where our organization, Kenya's DreamWorks, child marriage once again disproportionately affects young girls. In fact, more than a quarter, or about 1 in 4 girls in Kenya, were married before the age of 18. But the more you go into rural communities, communities where girls are not being educated, that goes up quite a bit.
We work mostly with the Maasai tribe, and they are a polygamous tribe, and often a man has 4 wives and as many as 24 children, and sometimes more. Secondary school in Kenya is very expensive. It could be $1,000 tuition, supplies, transport, uniforms are all extra. And you can see how it would be difficult for a man to support so many children in secondary school. So if a man has a choice, he will send one of his sons to school. That's why we match girls with sponsors and try to get them all the way through secondary school and through the university. A major impediment to girls staying in school is that they have very few successful role models, and especially very few women who have completed college or gotten a job. On the other hand, they have many, many role models in the Maasai community of girls following the traditions of dating, getting married as early as 16, and going through the female circumcision, which we call female genital mutilation. For thousands of years, girls have done this, and on that day when they go through their ceremony, they actually change their name in Ma from girl to woman. And many, many girls look forward to this. When I started to work with the girls on this subject, I expected it would be their mothers, their fathers, their grandparents that would object. But it was truthfully the young women. Since all of their peers had gone through the ceremony, they wanted to have the ceremony too. They said, "Debbie, how will we become women?" So we developed an alternative rite of passage. We have the entire ceremony. They have to bleed, so we have a little nick on the leg. And that day, they changed their name to woman, and this has been very successful. We've had over 15 ceremonies, and hundreds of girls have attended. And now they're parents, and they love the ceremony, and they're happy with the result, and they don't generally have the cut.
So the organization I work with, Kekenya's Dream, works primarily in Narok County, which is a much more rural, less urban community. And child marriage occurs here at higher rates than the national average, as does female genital mutilation. More girls are out of school, there's high rates of HIV/AIDS, poverty, and all of these factors contribute to the higher than normal rates of child marriage being practiced, which is why it's so important that our organization has programs that are taking place, because all of these root causes, poverty, lack of resources, more broadly, lack of educational opportunities for girls, contribute to parents and other guardians making decisions for their daughters to be married early.
What can I say is that the issues in West Africa may be seen as an overall problem all West Africa countries are confronted with. West Africa is roughly made up of 16 countries sharing the same traditions and practices. This means that all women and girls are victims of discrimination and violence just because of their genders. Countries where child marriage is more prominent include Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Nigeria, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, and Ghana. Among the studies tend to say that Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are the two most affected by child marriage.